Hello and welcome back to my Dandelion Diaries, where we are in the final days of Inkmas. Man, what a month it has been. Today we are on officially day 22. We only have, gosh, 4 days left in the Diamine calendar, and I think it's 3 in the colorverse because there's one less. Yeah, I'm just gonna open the door and see what we get today. Jeez. Oh, okay. So today's ink looks like it's called Nutmeg, and it is a shimmer ink. And the shimmer looks to be almost like a yellow gold to a bronze gold color. Very pretty. Let's swatch it out. Okay, so we finally have a brown in the Advent. This is not what I was expecting for a brown that we might get in this calendar, but I'll take it. The color of this is definitely more of a sand, but it has almost like a green or even blue tone to it. It is on the cooler side of grays. With the gold shimmer though, it pulls warmer. Kind of a, you know, I don't know, oxymoron, opposites. Like I feel like these don't go together, but they do go together at the same time. It does feel a bit dry, which is again kind of disappointing considering how many dry inks we've had in this calendar, but we will see how that really turns out after a, you know, full writing page of it and, you know, how that goes. But the color of this is really pretty. I still think 𝗦𝘃𝗃𝗃 is my favorite shimmer out of the whole calendar so far, but this one probably takes a close second, maybe third, just because the color is definitely right up my alley and that it's a nice brown with some really pretty shimmer in it. I don't really have much else to say about it. It's not wowing me. Maybe it'll wow me in the writing sample, but I do think I have some inks similar to this, so let me break out my swatch book. Alright, so I'm going to compare this to browns first, but I also kind of want to compare it to grays and maybe even greens, just because the color of this is slightly olivey and also pretty washed out in like more of a gray hue. It's reminding me a lot of Diamine's Muddy Puddle right now, so I definitely want to compare it to that, but let me go through my browns first. But you can definitely see the pretty golden shimmer that it has, at least while the swatch is still a little bit wet. Okay, so it's kind of close to the base of Birmingham Pen Company's Timber Frame. I do think Timber Frame pulls a bit more saturated and slightly more yellow. It's also similar to Sandstone, but Sandstone has a really cool feature where it starts kind of green and then it shades dark. And it looks a little different on depending on the paper. So that's a really cool Birmingham Pen Company ink if you were ever interested in that. This is last year's Weeping Willow by Diamine, which I personally really loved. I think it was one of my favorites of the whole calendar last year. And the colors are similar in writing, it seems, but in the swatches they do look a bit different. Weeping Willow has slightly pink shading with a little bit of a green halo thing going on, similar to Sailor's 𝗦𝘃𝗽𝗍. And Nutmeg is definitely more solid all the way through. The shading doesn't chroma shade or anything, but with the shimmer it's kind of cool to see that those are similar at least. This is Dusted Truffle by Diamine. I think it's much cooler toned, and with the silver shimmer it's a better match together. Maybe Nutmeg is considered like the warmer version of Dusted Truffle. I like both so far. I can't complain. If you wanted a lighter version, maybe check out Fude Press's Majestic Maple Syrup. I feel like their shimmers are close. Fude Press's is a bit more champagne-y and Nutmeg's is definitely more yellow gold, and the base of maple syrup is much lighter. Could it be? Could it be? Maybe? Okay, hold the phone. This ink is very close to Pilot Iroshizuku's Inaho, and it has shimmer. How freaking cool is that? Okay, Nutmeg is definitely a bit, before I get too excited here, Nutmeg is definitely a bit more beige toned. It definitely has a bit more of a brownness to it. And Inaho still pulls pretty strongly yellow, but these are very close in color, especially with the gold shimmer in Nutmeg. That's beautiful. Wow. I don't think it's going to have the amazing consistency of 𝗬𝗏 though, but that's really cool to see that if you never got to try 𝗬𝗏 before it was discontinued, you have a color you could probably get a sample of and try it out and see how you feel. It's also similar to Troublemaker's 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏. The Troublemaker ink is a bit darker and has more of that shading with a black haloing. Again, if you wanted something a bit darker, Wearingeul Scarecrow is similar in that it's like more of a yellowy brown with like a small greenness to it, but it is a bit darker. It's kind of similar to 𝗬𝗏𝘁𝗁𝗁 JFK's dog. I think it's 𝗬𝗏𝘁𝗁𝗁𝗁, but the 𝗬𝗏𝘁 ink is much darker. Okay, it's similar to Wearingeul's 𝗦𝘃𝗍𝗍, and 𝗦𝘃𝗍𝗍 has this really pretty shimmer with it. On camera, the Wearingeul ink is pulling a bit more green, but in person they're slightly more similar. I do think Nutmeg is still warmer, and with the golden shimmer pulls more yellow. Okay, that is it for the browns. Let me get my grays. Okay, this is the one I really wanted to compare it to, and this is Diamine's Muddy Puddle, which I absolutely love. The base of Muddy Puddle is definitely more of a warm gray, and Nutmeg's is more of like an olive beige, but in writing, I think they would be very close together, and their shimmers are very similar as well. It's also kind of not really close to Robert Oster's Jewel of the Crown. I think the Wish and Tree is still closer to Jewel of the Crown, but Nutmeg is, you know, lighter like that. And then let me get to my greens, just because I do have some more olive tones in my greens, and this ink does have a slight olive pull. If you wanted an even like more olivey ink, that's also probably a lot drier, definitely check out Troublemaker's 𝗄𝗶𝘁𝗃. That ink has really great shading, and it looks like in writing these two would be kind of similar. Also kind of similar to Sailor Ink Studios 280, which is another one of those fun chroma shaders that looks almost identical to Troublemaker's 𝗄𝗶𝘁𝗃. It is also on the drier side, but not so much so that it's like a problem. Let's see what else. I would compare it to Pondweed here by Birmingham Pen Company, but this is my mix of it, and I don't think it's correct. Yeah, nothing super strong is pulling at me. Just, it's all pretty green here. I think 280 and the, what was the other one I said? Sailor Ink Studios 280 and the Troublemaker's 𝗄𝗶𝘁𝗃 are the closest to this. And then Diamine's Muddy Puddle was pretty close as well. But I do think that most of the matches for this were in the browns, and I would probably stick with that just because of how, yeah, how similar they are. Anyways, that is Nutmeg in terms of comparisons. Here is the swatch card fully dry now. As I was talking, it finished drying, and it is really pretty. I'm going to go ahead and do a full writing sample of this for a full page in my notebook and see how it turns out and see how the flow ends up being, at least with my dip pen. Alright, I can confirm this ink is dry. I honestly struggled a lot with this one, doing the page with my dip pen, the Sailor Hocoro dip pen that I've used for all the inks, and I don't know if this one I got shimmer stuck in the nib or something. I don't know, but I really struggled with getting this one to write. So to me, it's dry, and it has shimmer, which is like the worst combination. The color is beautiful though. It is a nice soft kind of sandy color. I would say it's definitely more on the cool toned brown versus the, you know, tan, yellow, warm tones or anything like that. And it is nice with the gold shimmer. I do think there could have been an experimentation here to do like a Star Bright ink like this with gold shimmer. I think it would have looked really cool, but I am happy to have, you know, something interesting that I don't know, something we haven't gotten in the calendar yet, which is a brown, even though I kind of wish the brown was a little bit darker, but it's okay. I'm okay with this one. It's not my favorite, especially after writing with it and struggling so much, but I do think it is a pretty color, and I think it will definitely be a great addition to several people's collections if they don't have a color quite like this. But yeah, what do you guys think about this one? I'm kind of like, it's okay. It's like a mid ink for me, as people are saying now. Yeah, it's all right. I do think the next few days, the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, I'm hoping we get something that's like dark and just moody, because I feel like we've had a lot of really light inks in this calendar, but maybe that's just the ones I'm focusing on right now. I don't know. Anyways, I hope you guys are having a good day. I hope you're getting ready for the holidays coming up if you aren't already currently celebrating. And yeah, have a great one. Be blessed. I'll see you guys for Colorverse after this, and if not, tomorrow. Bye.